next 4 minutes, generating a distinguishable gray ash plume that eventually rose to an altitude of 3,383 meters or 11,100 feet. What had just occurred was not only Taal's first eruption of any kind in 41 days, but its largest singular eruption of 2024. Based on the observed plume, I estimate VEI rating that between 1.4 and 2.5 million cubic meters of tephra was ejected, ranking this 4-minute-long eruption on the 0 to 9 volcanic explosivity index as a very long-end VEI2. This analysis is not all too surprising when you realize that unlike many smaller eruptions that also occurred this year from Taal, this one caused enough of a boom and contained enough energy to actually slightly shake some houses on the shorelines of Taal Lake. Yet, despite all of this, Taal's alert level is still remaining at 1, and this status is unlikely to change unless more frequent and more powerful phreatomagmatic eruptions soon occur. This means that under no circumstances should a person visit Taal Island or use a boat on Taal Lake. If you do not do either of these, you should be fine and will remain unharmed if further small eruptions occur. After all, while yes, the latest eruption was the largest in more than a year to occur, in the grand scheme of overall volcanic eruptions around the planet, it was quite small. And yes, this is the same category, specifically about 40% the size of White Island's deadly 2019 eruption, which was also assigned a VEI of a 2. If you are still a bit confused about why this latest eruption at the Taal volcano involving andesitic magma occurred, I have a good analogy for you. Explosive analogy: have you ever seen those online videos where someone thinks it's a great idea to place a large flat wet rock above a fire to cook food on? Well, the result is always the same, and you should never do this, but the heat from the fire causes what little water is in the rock to rapidly flash to steam, expand in volume by a factor of 1,600, and cause the overlying rock to violently fracture like a small explosion which flings pieces from the stone. In this case, the wet stone was literally both the acidic crater lake of Taal and the caprock above its magma conduit, whereas the fire was instead andesite magma, which was 300 degrees Celsius hotter than a typical campfire, likely with a temperature of around 1,100 degrees Celsius. And, while this analysis could have occurred directly at the very bottom of the crater lake, it could have also occurred at a few hundred meters depth in the magma conduit. This is where a small batch of magma has been located since 2021, feeding the incredibly high levels of sulfur dioxide that this volcano has averaged during that time span. At times this has averaged more gas emissions when it is not erupting than the continuously erupting Reykjanes volcano in Iceland is producing at the present. While this aforementioned body of shallow magma is fairly small, it is likely connected to one of the largest magma chambers in all of Asia at 5 kilometers depth. Caldera-forming eruptions: this vast magma chamber has produced 4 of the planet's largest explosive eruptions of the Holocene epoch, including one VEI-7 eruption that devastated the region. This is why there is no towering stratovolcano here like Mayan, as well there may have been here once long ago. Whatever did exist completely collapsed across 7 caldera-forming eruptions that now represent the caldera rim, vast majority of Taal Lake proper. Here is the caldera rim those powerful prehistoric eruptions formed. However, I am not suggesting something even remotely close to these major eruptions could occur anytime soon. I just thought it was an interesting piece of information about what I consider in the long term to be the most potentially dangerous volcano on the planet. Taal current eruptive period is in an active phase where multiple eruptions across a timespan of 4 to 15 years occur, only to be followed by 20 to 70 years of zero volcanic eruptions. So, expect more small eruptions, some which may be as large as witnessed earlier today, to occur from Taal